TV Unfiltered. We're going to talk all things Arsenal today, and we're also going to talk other things football as well, because we've got some very special guests with us, some real football knowledge in the house. We've got Terry from the Football Terrace. Say hello, Terry.
Hello, everyone. You all right? Everyone good?
Right, so if you haven't subscribed to Terry at the Football Terrace, make sure you do, because it's a top channel, it's a top phone-in, and he speaks everything football. He's totally unbiased. He's probably the best presenter on YouTube, I'd say. We've also got Kenny Ken with us as well.
How you doing, guys? All right, Terry. Terry, I know I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to meet you, the other Terry. Claude, bloody, I'll see too much of you, mate. And Sonny, it's nice to meet you as well. It's always good to talk about football, and it's going to be a long season, and anything can happen. I'm not buying into subscribers to the fact that Man City and Liverpool are going to have it all their way. The Premiership ain't that cracked.
We've also got Claude and Terry Davis as well. But let's kick straight into it. I mean, for me, if we start off with the Arsenal game on Sunday, I thought, contrary to what everyone was saying on the other channels, I thought we was dog shit, to be honest with you. I thought it was the worst game of the weekend.
I think it was the worst first game of the season that we've played for a long while. I just thought it was lacklustre. There was no excitement. It was boring, and to buy 5 players and leave them on the bench straight away. I know there's a lot of people out there saying that, you've got to bed them in and all that, but did all the other teams do that with all their new players? I don't think they did.
They changed it.
They all played. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not a lover of all this. You've got to bed them in and all that. If you buy these players, then why ain't they fit? If they're fit enough to be on the bench, they're fit enough to play for me.
Exactly. What's your make on things, Terry?
Sorry?
What's your make on things, Terry, for the Football Terry?
I think you got the result, which was the most important thing. I agree with the other Terry there that I thought it was strange that not one of the new players really made an impact, come on at the important time, and least of all started. You saw the impact that Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka had for Manchester United, not just what they actually did, but the extra lift that it gave the fans. And I think for a lot of Gooners, it must have felt like a bit of an anticlimax. First game of the season, you had a brilliant transfer window, and you don't see any of them start. So I didn't really get that decision. I thought it was wrong. And look, Willock and Nelson, I thought they did really well, but they're clearly not at the standard of the likes of Pepe and the like. So I think it was a little bit disappointing, but next game will be at the Emirates, and I'm sure they'll all start.
I think the only really interview there was on AFTV, I think that came from Claude. So what was your take on things, Claude?
Well, I thought it was a great result. I couldn't believe Lee Judge is saying it was a great performance. I questioned him after, by the way. I thought it was... First half was very poor. I think Newcastle were there for a take, because Newcastle had a lot of players bedding in, and they looked very short of ideas. And we didn't create hardly anything ourselves. I would have liked to see more players. I think the problem is, I think a lot of them are not quite up to fitness levels at the moment. So maybe that's the reason they weren't playing. But overall, I thought the performance, I mean, everyone's saying it was a great performance, but I'll take that one bit of magic from Maitland-Niles to Aubameyang out, and everyone would have been moaning their heads off, and there would have been a bit of a meltdown outside. So overall, the result is great, and what's good about it as well is that there's all these players are still to come in and bed in. And once they all bed in, I think we'll have a very exciting season. But hold on to your seatbelts, I would say.
I think it's going to take some time. But having said that, I mean, United yesterday, they started like a house on fire, didn't they?
Yeah, I agree with you. But if you if you watch the game, Chelsea controlled the game up until the first goal. Chelsea were controlling the game, weren't they? So it wasn't as simple. I mean, they got that spurt of 5 minutes in the second half, which killed the game. But overall, I don't think that scoreline really was. Terry might disagree. I don't know, but it was a bit of a cruel scoreline for Chelsea. I don't think they played that badly, but they just made bad errors at the wrong time, and that's for experience. They had a lot of young players out there as well. But I thought Man United in the second half were very impressive. But having said all that, It's the first game.
What's your take on it, Sil?
Yeah, look, I understand people's viewpoints on that. I remember Man United playing under LVG, and we dominated the ball, we dominated the play against everybody. But the amount of games we drew and lost because we didn't have clinical edge and because we couldn't finish. Now, Chelsea did it the post twice yesterday, but hitting the post is considered off target. So the shots weren't good enough. They didn't go in. And as soon as we scored, we shut them down and stopped them. So, and when you look at some of the tactical breakdowns and some of the tactical analysis that's happened after the game, a lot of what Man United did in terms of allowing Chelsea to have the ball, letting them have a run of the field, it made them commit a lot of men forward. And then we pounced on them as their legs got tired, and our counter-attack absolutely destroyed them. And when we gave Rashi and Martial the opportunities, it was all she wrote. So, yeah, hindsight's always very, very lucrative, but Man United were by far the best team. Maybe 4-0 was a little bit flattering, but the most impressive thing for Man United fans was how well Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire did at the back, and the increase in quality we saw almost instantly defensively from Man United as a team. We only got 2 clean sheets last season at Old Trafford the whole year. So to get one on the opening day of the season, I think it will give so much confidence to that part of the team and so much confidence to the new young players in the squad.
I mean, Martin's just made a statement there. He goes, we've been crying out to win games when we're not playing well. What's the problem? Well, my problem is I want to play well. So, you know, it'd be nice to play well as well.
I mean, at the end of the day, what Martin just said there, yeah, we all want to win. We all know that. We all want the 3 points. But we only won 1-0. I mean, we didn't go out and play them off the park. We didn't go out there and all us Arsenal fans were sitting there and was excited and watching the game. Well, I certainly wasn't. I know that. And, you know, I just don't understand the way he set up and all the formation he played. I mean, surely we bought Pepe for Lacazette to be up front on it, the centre up front, and Pepe on one of the wings and Aubameyang on the other. But he didn't set up like that yesterday. He played Aubameyang up front on his own. So is that the things to come? Are we going to be seeing that when we do have Pepe and Aubameyang and Lacazette up front together or not? I don't know.
Who's going to finish higher, football terrace? Arsenal or United this year?
Who's going to what, sorry?
Who's going to finish higher?
Oh, that's a real tough question. I mean, 3 days ago, all I was getting from Gooners online was that they're better than us anyway because they finished in front of us last year. They had the better transfer window. So I just posed that, well, it would be embarrassing for Arsenal then. If they were the better team with the better transfer window, it'll be highly embarrassing for Man United to finish in front of them and for them not to qualify for the top 4. I don't. If Man United can continue to defend how we did yesterday, I really fancy us to do the business and get back inside the top 4. But if we can't and it crumbles away, I think Arsenal's attacking line will see them through and they'll finish above United if that happens.
I think Emma's got a lot of faith in Callum Chambers this year for me. I think he'll probably start more games. He's going to start a lot of games. That's what he went with in pre-season. So it might be Chambers and Socrates for quite a few weeks before David Luiz gets looking. What do you think, Ken?
Look, I think I've been watching it yesterday. The fact of the matter is that Unai Emery picked a team not to lose, and that's the most important thing. So I do agree with Martin says. 2 points I want to pick up on because I've been listening to everyone's points. I'll talk about the Man United game as well. First and foremost, right, everyone has this utopia about playing Lacazette and Aubameyang, no matter what opposition we play, no matter how we affect the shape in midfield. Everyone knows that in modern football, you can't be a spare man midfield. So I do not understand why people are obsessed with playing Aubameyang and Lacazette. Secondly, we bought Pepe and we bought Ceballos and all these other players. They're not match fit. We had a pre-season where Willock, like I said, was playing in that position. He was giving us the legs in midfield, and so was Nelson. What we needed yesterday against Newcastle was legs on the counter attack. It's most important to get 2 banks of free. Make sure you're difficult to beat. If they're getting the crosses in, you clear it. That means you have all your defences are in a sort of defensive line, and then you hit players on the break. There were times in this first half when we did hit on the break. Mkhitaryan worked his nuts off, but the final ball and the final shots didn't go in. So I'm not complaining about the result because I've seen games where we played like that, where we could have played like big boys, where it wouldn't have been match fit. They probably would have tied after 70 minutes. And then Newcastle get a couple of set pieces, they win 1-0. So beggars can't be choosers. Yes, we've got these great players, but we've got 37 games left. We've got a whole season for them to bed in. The most important thing about next season is two things: getting a win at all costs, and remember, the utopia is the top four, and we are going to win ugly. And whether we like it or not, big clubs and big players have game managers where they're not always going to be play well, but they are going to find a way to win, and that's what football's about. This isn't PlayStation. This is proper man up football. And
Kenny,
that's
can I
about Man United game as well. If I just go on about Man United, Claude, Man United game as well. Chelsea lost the game because of naivety. Because what will happen is that when you play a lot of kids against, a big game like Old Trafford, Frank Lampard wants to express himself. He's played them at Derby where they were expressing themselves, but that he probably played one kid too many. And what will happen with Man United is that once they got the penalty, they decided to get what we did yesterday: get 2 banks of free, make themselves difficult, but hit them on the break. Which means when Chelsea were before they like I said, got their conceded their first goal, they were getting in Man United's back four. But after Man United got the first goal, the door was shut. They all resorted from playing in around them, but they weren't getting through to their back four. And when they did lose the ball, which they did, which young players do, they done the counter attack.
Ken, what I'd say to that, just one sec, Ken, what I would say to you is that Man United's team was younger yesterday than Chelsea's. So our players per head were younger.
I hear what you're saying, Tel. I hear what you're saying to that. It was younger in terms of like Wan-Bissaka and everything else, but there was still a lot of experienced players who've played at the club before. Players like Tammy Abraham, he's played a lot of games, 150 games, but he hasn't played at that high level.
I do get that. I do get that. And I think that Chelsea and even with Man United, you're right. In the opening 20 minutes, there was some mistakes and some holes. But look at Liverpool on Friday night. I mean, Norwich had 4, 5, 6 chances in that game to score. It's opening game of the season. I think all teams, including Arsenal, United, Chelsea, are going to have some rust, and there's going to be some fitness issues and 2 or 3 games to generally bed in. And I think that's a scary aspect for everybody, that Man City were the only team that didn't have any of that, and they just blitzed West Ham away 5-0, and it looked simplistic.
Tell their B team could win this league. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yes, it's quality.
I think Kevin Russell's asked a question of you guys. I'll ask to know what the Gooners thought of our depth yesterday. I don't think they've done any questions, yeah.
Sonny, I've done a players rating yesterday on Twitter, and to answer that question, I thought Willett was man of the match myself.
Without doubt.
For a young player to come on first game of the season and played the way he did, I thought if it weren't for him in that first half, we could have quite easily been 1 or 2-0 down and it would have been even more boring of a game. Without him, he kept trying to go forward every time he got the ball. No disrespect to Saka or Guendouzi, but every time I was watching, they got the ball, they was going backwards.
I mean, quick question for Terry, for the football theorist. Would you take Mkhitaryan back?
No, I still prefer the piano player, to be honest. I still think, even though it's costing us 350 grand a week, it's still the better deal. Because at least Sanchez makes us some money commercially. Yeah, Mkhitaryan, I watched him yesterday. He just needs to leave England. He needs to go back to Germany where he knows he can play and perform. But if you compare the Dortmund Mkhitaryan to what we've seen at United and Arsenal, it must be his brother. It must be his brother that came over instead, because he just cannot do it in the Premier League. And some players are unfortunate and they have bad injuries or problems. He hasn't. He just hasn't been able to cope with the pressure and the speed and power of the Premier League. So yeah, I feel sorry for you lot, because he's dead food, mate. He's dead food.
Can I just say, watching Mkhitaryan play yesterday for us, I think Claude has still got a chance of putting that top on and getting out there and playing for us.
What's your
I didn't hear that.
I said, watching Mkhitaryan play yesterday, Claude, I said, you've still got a chance of putting that top on and running that right wing for us.
I didn't hear.
You're promised a hug from Karen, Kenny.
What's that?
You're promised a hug from Karen Russell when she sees you.
Didn't hear that. Anyway, listen. Sorry, mate.
I know. I'll see you next week, Karen. Claude, what Terry's trying to say, if you can hear me, Claude, is that Terry was saying.
Sorry, mate. No, listen. What was you asked me what I think of the debut Black Boys? Did you?
No, Claude. No,
What?
Terry was saying you would have done a better job than Mick Tyron yesterday. He said you would have done a better job than Mick Tyron yesterday.
I think Claude's either Mick Tyron, Claude.
Well, I thought he was very poor yesterday, very, very poor. But I've got to say the youngsters played very well. I thought until they had to come off eventually because I think they're tired. I thought Pepe, when he came on, made intelligent runs. But of course, these players don't see his runs at the moment. They all look towards the Aubameyang. Gooner get used to him, and I thought Ceballos was looked quite good in the centre of the midfield. I thought he came on and done well. Mark didn't do anything. I mean, he only had 5 minutes. So, but I'm looking forward to when all these players come in and bed in. I think we'll be very excited. But the only thing I'm worried about is the back door. I think all that. I think with Newcastle yesterday. I think if me and Ty were playing at the centre halves, I think we'd have kept a clean sheet. They were all shocking.
I actually thought that Joe Linton was a pretty decent player. I thought he was quite a good player. And I thought that winger they had would look pretty nice.
But they had no one up front, did they? I thought they were rubbish. I just feel that it was quite easy to keep a clean sheet there, really. I don't think if we can, we'll be probably tested more in the next away game, that's for sure.
Terry from the Football Terrace, who's more likely to get a sack, Ollie or Frank Lampard?
Frank
Solskjaer.
Yeah. For me, Frank. I think that, and I don't think either will get the sack this season. To be fair, but if we're going to talk about who's most likely, I would say Frank Lampard. Ollie's going to have a good season this year. I'm convinced of it.
This is a message for all of you guys. There's a question for all of you guys. Do you think Arsenal and Man U will strengthen in January?
No, I don't think Arsenal will. I don't think Arsenal will kind of strengthen because they've got a full quota of players, especially in around the midfield area now, and up. I don't. Maybe they might get something in up front, but I don't see where Arsenal need to strengthen. We know we're getting Saliba next year from Saint Etienne, and we know that we got Holding to come back into centre half position. We've got Socrates. They've got David Luiz. In terms of right back, we know Hector's going to come back, and we got Tierney. So in the back four, we can't touch that. Midfield as well. There's nothing really to touch.
I'm going to be controversial, Ken. I'll say if we got rid of Xhaka and we had Pogba, we'd win the league.
What?
Yeah, but Pogba's a world-class player.
Yeah, if we got rid of Xhaka and we had Pogba, I think we'd win the league.
No. I don't agree. I would rather have none of them, to be honest.
Like Pogba's amazing. He's the best central midfielder in the Premier League, one of the best in the world. There's no doubt. But for Arsenal to jump, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd elevate you that much. And also, forget how much better he would make you. Liverpool and City are the best two teams in the world. To catch them, it's about creating a team. Yeah, Pogba would make you better, but you wouldn't leapfrog in front of Liverpool or City. I don't see that. But in terms of signings, Man United might look at midfield in January, potentially. I think it depends on what we're doing, what we're competing in, injuries that we have. But I think that if United can get through to January, still be in that top four hunt, in competitions, doing well, and if the midfield area is lacking slightly, if Fred hasn't improved, if Matic is as bad as he has been for a while, they may open up, their coffers again and bring in a midfielder. But that would be the only area, because up front we've got three of the best young attacking players in world football. Defensively, we look pretty much set now. Only midfield in January, I would think.
Terry, I might have been drunk yesterday, but I actually said, man for man, Arsenal better than Liverpool.
What's wrong with you? There's kidney stones affecting your brain. Come on, man for man. No, Liverpool have got one of the best goalies in the world. Their goalie's better than yours. They've got the two best fullbacks in Europe, in my opinion. They've got the best centre back in the world. Mate, none of your centre backs are as good as, well, maybe your centre backs are as good. Maybe David Luiz is as good as Matip. You go into midfield. Torreira's the only player in the midfield that might get into the team. And then up front, your three are brilliant. Everyone knows I consistently call Lacazette and Aubameyang world class, but they're just not on Mane and Salah's level.
I disagree. What do you think, Terry Davies? What do you think? Who's got the better front three out of Arsenal and Liverpool?
Obviously, I mean, at the moment, I'd say Liverpool's got the better team at the moment. Obviously, as the other Terry just said, I'm not too finny on their goalkeeper. I mean, I don't know if he's better than Leno. I just think, obviously, with the defence that he's got in front of him, it makes him a better keeper. Obviously, their fullbacks are fantastic. Van Dijk is brilliant. He's the best back in the world. So really going on that, obviously, and our I agree with Terry, to be honest. I think at the moment, at this precise moment, obviously, they've got the better squad at the moment. But obviously, once our squad all come together, I'll say by the end of September, all our players that we've bought and come back like Oldin and Bellerin, I think we could push ourselves up there. But it all depends whether, like the last couple of seasons, whether he plays the strongest team, Emery, or not. That's my only doubt.
Kenny, what's your take on Emery?
That's a good question. The thing about it is, my question's always been to myself, especially last season, is that I want Unai Emery to do so well, so badly, because I was so against Arsene Wenger's continuing as Arsenal manager. I seriously wanted Arsene Wenger gone. I really want Unai to do well, but Unai's doing things beginning to worry me a bit. Yes. I don't like the way he shapes the team. I think that when he plays a three at the back, that worries me.
Fucking machine.
Pressure. I'm totally against Aubameyang.
Fucking joke.
Yeah. Sorry, Ken.
Is that Claude? You all right, mate?
Fucking terrible. This is a bollocks, man. Absolute fucking bollocks.
Cool. Do you?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Can you just explaining what he's taking on Unai Emery? Once Kenny's finished, you can have your say on him.
This cheap piece of shit I've got here, mate, is going in the dustbin tonight. I tell you.
Well, that was bought by the last regime, Claude. The last regime bought that one.
Hey?
The last regime bought that one.
I know. I'm fed up with it, mate.
What's your take on Emery, Claude? Is he going to get top four?
Sorry.
What's your take on Emery?
Well, you know mine from last season. I think he should have gone in May after that pathetic performance in the final and not getting anything from the last 8 games. He should have gone for me then. But everyone wants to give him another year. I have to put up with it for another year. So I'm not that keen on him. He hasn't turned me around yet. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. He's got the squad now. He's got his players. I don't want to hear no excuses from anyone. I don't want at the end of next season, if we're in 5th or 6th, one more season, please. One more season. I don't want to hear that shit. So let's get on with it. We'll see how it goes.
So from the football terrace, who would you prefer to be the manager of United, Emery or Solskjaer? Forget the fact that Solskjaer played for you.
I can't forget that though. Okay, if you look at their managerial CVs, you would pick Unai Emery. Of course, you would. If you had no idea who either of them were, and they came in with their CVs, Unai Emery's is stronger. There's no doubt. But the problem you've got is that there is more to football than that, and sometimes there's almost an unquantifiable aspect of football that's difficult to articulate. And Ollie understands Manchester United, and there's a cultural issue at the club that he is fixing. And in fact, I believe he has resolved and fixed around player power, the principles and morality of the football club. And I think that sometimes having that inside knowledge and understanding how the club works makes you a stronger candidate than somebody with a better CV. So if I was to ignore everything I know about Ollie, I'd have picked Unai Emery on CV. But yeah, there's very few managers in the world with the situation that Manchester United were in December 2018 that I would have picked, because we needed somebody that understood the club, that understands about our principles and how we want to play, how we should be conducting ourselves, and somebody with enough respect from the fans to make the board sit up and take note. Now, Ollie doesn't go out publicly slagging the board off because he can't, but I've seen evidence that internally he's making lots of changes and getting things done properly. And I think doesn't matter how big the manager is, whether it was Zidane, clearly, look how big Jose Mourinho was. He couldn't get his own way. So I think it needed to be an ex-club legend to be able to yield their power and control. And I wouldn't change him for the world right now.
Terry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, mate.
Alan, would you give Ollie if you don't win any medals at all?
For me, it's always about trajectory. So if the football improves this year and we're unlucky not to win things, we get a bit of a poor result in a game, our football's improving, we're scoring more goals, we're conceding less, and I can see genuine improvement, I would stick with him. The only time I'd start to look at a manager and think no more is when the football's regressive and there's no results at the end of it. If you look at Liverpool and their first 2.5 years under Jurgen Klopp, the football was getting better and better each year, but they still weren't winning things. But they could see behind the scenes what was going on, the fact that the squad was together, he wasn't losing the dressing room, and they knew it would come good. So I think it's always a contextual thing. If you don't win medals, it's what's the football like? Are we moving in the right direction? Are the players still bought into the manager? Are they still trying to run through brick walls for him? If you've got all those things, not winning trophy at this stage of Man United and Arsenal's development from the doldrums that we found ourselves in is not the end of the world. But the problem you've got is if you're finishing fifth and you're going out early in all the cup competitions and the football's awful and the players are throwing their toys out the pram, then any manager's got to go, in my opinion, because they've lost it. So it really does depend on where we're at. But
Terry, Daniel Knight's asked a question. It says Maguire is twice the player of Upamecano. He's overrated. Probably never watched him play. How good is Upamecano compared to Harry Maguire? Harry Maguire's got a bigger head.
Upamecano, I haven't seen him play, so I'm one of these people. I don't watch European football very often. I might watch this El Clasico. I don't watch European football other than the Champions League. So all I know about him is what I've read on scouting reports and clips that I've seen. So it's impossible for me to assess the two. Plus, they haven't played together in the same league. And I think that's the real assessment that comes in, is when they play up against each other and when they play in the same league. Also, he's young. Upamecano is a young player, so it's very hard to judge at this stage. I'm just very, very happy with Maguire at Man United. I think he's one of the best centre-backs in Europe, and he'll prove that this year. That doesn't mean that the other dude you mentioned, doesn't mean he's a bad player, but yeah, I'd stick with Harry all day long.
So, up-and-coming fixtures. Who have you got next week, Till?
We're away to Wolves, Monday Night Football. Tough game.
Tough game.
That's a tough game.
Right, guys. Let's get some predictions on Arsenal's game and also United game for next week. Claude. Claude, are you with us?
This is not work. This is not going. This is not happening tonight,
It's
mate.
working, Claude. Just talk, mate. Just talk. It is.
Yeah.
You're the best bit, Claude. Every time you rant and say it's not working, it's working, bruv.
I give up, mate.
We can hear you, Claude. Talk. We can hear you. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Move on.
I'll go first. Right? The Arsenal-Burnley game. Obviously, depending on, I don't normally give predictions out until I've seen the squad, but going by what I see, Remember what I see the weekend. I'm going to say it's going to be quite. We ain't going to have our players out again. I can't see him starting with Pepe and a few of the others. So I'm going to go for maybe a 2-1 victory to Arsenal. And United against Wolves against United. That's going to be a tough game Monday night. I go 1-1.
Terry?
Arsenal, you're going to smash Burnley. Burnley actually had a great start to the season, no doubt. But the atmosphere at the Emirates, you're going to start the majority of your new players. The atmosphere is going to be too much. The quality will be too much. You'll smash them. I'm going 3-0 to Arsenal in that game. Man United Wolves. United are going to beat them. It won't be big. It'd be a narrow victory, a 2-0 victory, another clean sheet for Man United. And I'm going to take from that result and the Chelsea result when it happens is the fact that we drew with Chelsea at home last year and we got battered away at Wolves. And those two results are going to yield an extra 5 points from what we got last year in the retrospective fixtures, and equally just that further development of this really young team. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. And both Arsenal and Man United to pick up wins.
Well, I'm going to go for. I fancy United to beat Wolves. To be honest, yeah. I think banter aside, I think United are going to be strong this year. I fancy 2-0 United, and I'm going to go for 3-0 Arsenal. Ken?
I'm going for Arsenal to win 3-1 because I think we all concede. I still think that Ceballos might start, but I think that Pepe will come on again. And I don't see Lacazette start. I don't think Lacazette will start either. So I'll say 3-1. Man United will beat Wolves 3-0.
Wow.
Wolves are now playing in Europa League. Remember, they got the Thursday, Sunday thing, which is going to affect their performance, whether we like it or not. We've been there. It's not ideal. And I generally think that teams are going to work out Wolves now. Teams are not going to be, be caught out on the counter-attack by them. And I just think that Man United have got enough pace and quality now to hit him, murder him on the counter-attack. And Rashford playing his preferred positions as Martial. They haven't got that big lamppost up front, Lukaku. So I think they'll be more swifter and more pacey up front like they were yesterday. So Man United will murder them.
Well, let's mention them knuckle draggers down the road for a bit. How do you think they're going to get on, Ken?
Who, Spurs?
No, you're not allowed to say that.
Who talking about? It's Tottenham.
You can't say that name on this channel.
All right, fine enough. The thing with Spurs, they're a good side. Let's all right. The thing with that team, let's just be football people rather than Arsenal fans. They're a good side, and they've had a great development. They're better than us. They're more advanced in their development than us. And one thing they're going to need to change is to try and replace Eriksen. But I still think they'll be there in the bats. You can't. Football don't lie. Eventually, in football, the truth comes out, and at the moment, they're a better team than us. And they're playing bigger games than we'll ever played in the last 3 years. So I expect them to be in the top four. If they can keep Harry Kane fit all season, rather than having his customary 6 weeks out, who knows? They might make a token challenge for the league. They won't win it, but they'll be there in a bats.
What did you make of it today? I didn't think it was anything special to us. Yeah, I think.
It's only his first game, Sonny. You've got to realise, right? He's got a bed in, hasn't he? He's got a bed in. And the fact of the matter is that Aston Villa in the first half, they were able to deal with Spurs because what's happened is that Spurs were very they're very predictable with Winks in midfield. All he was just a hunter carrier, get the ball, give it to someone better. Aston Villa can deal with that all long. But when you get Eriksen coming in, 1 minute he'll be up front, then he'll drop it to midfield. It's hard to pick him up, and then what he does, he made space for the.
Kenny's pulled out himself.
Yeah, look, I really respect Tottenham. I think they've developed a really, really good team. They've still got Lo Celso, who's very talented, and of course, young Ryan Sessegnon to come on and get involved. They've got the best number 9 in the league in Harry Kane. Which is also not someone who's going to score again over 30 goals in all competitions this year if he's fit. And I put Spurs down as title contenders. One, I think they will mount a bit of a challenge, but they should be. The expectations now of Tottenham should be to challenge for the title. And the reason I say that is their squad valuation is, but forget what you pay for players. the valuation of your players, what you would sell them for if they're on the market, their squad is valued at over £1 billion. The only 3 teams with a higher sell-on value in the world than them is Barcelona, Man City, and Liverpool. So your squad can't be more valuable than everybody else in Europe, and you not be considered title challengers because sorry.
They're all overpriced.
But not overpriced. There's not priced by this. Isn't priced by football. It's priced by KPMG Sports Advisory that do the valuations of players across Europe. The point being is, if you would, and this is my point to Spurs fans, you have to consider yourself title challengers when you have a striker that you would want to sell for 150 to 200 million pounds. What they can't do, Spurs, is keep talking up how great they are. The media can't keep talking up about how brilliant they are, how many world-class talented players they've got, and then be offended when they're called title challengers and say, "Oh, you're putting too much pressure on us." You're either a top side, world-class players that are worth over £1 billion collectively, or you're not. You can't be that big great team without being title challengers. And the same I would say about Man United have spent loads and loads of money, right? We should be title challengers, but we're not. Spurs, they just got to a European final. Their squad is worth all that money. Anybody that thinks they're not is patronising them, and any Spurs fan that doesn't believe that they should be considered title challengers has just got a small-mind mentality. And if Spurs don't get out of that small-minded viewpoint of themselves, they're never going to win anything big ever, unless they get out of it.
I think they're very lucky to get to that European final. Personally, you know,
it all depends. It all depends if they keep Eriksen. I think whether they make a title challenge. If they keep Eriksen, I think they will make a title challenge this year.
I think he's gone, mate.
I think if they keep Eriksen,
Sonny?
I think they'll make a title.
We can hear you, Ken. We can hear you.
Yeah,
you can't hear me.
Question to?
Yeah, we can hear you, Claude.
Claude was just saying about Tottenham. We've had your thoughts on Tottenham, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just want to hear what Claude's got to say.
Go on, Claude. Carry on.
If they keep Eriksen, they will challenge for the title. It all depends if they keep Eriksen. I think he's major in their pursuit of the title. But I just feel that without Eriksen, I think they're missing that link. But we'll see if they keep him.
Well, personally, I don't think they're going to challenge. I think they're going to go Spursy again. Once Harry Kane gets injured, I don't think Son and the other one, what's his name, Mora, are good enough. And I think they're going to struggle. I think Ndombele is going to be the Bakayoko of Tottenham. But what I can't understand is why any top club never came in and bought Alderweireld for 25 million. I think United could have done with him. We certainly could have done with him. But that's enough of them scumbags anyway. I don't want to talk about it. I'm starting to feel sick. I'm a Gooner. What have you got to add?
What about the Spuds?
About anybody? About anything?
I just think, obviously, this year again, City's going to run away with it, unfortunately. Liverpool, I think they're going to do well, but for me, where they've not bought anyone, I just think people are going to find them out a bit more this year. The great thing about when United were at their best, when Ferguson was managing, was every time you won the league, next year we still go out and freshen up the team and buy that one person that would help you get across that line. That's my only worry about Liverpool, is that where he's not bought anyone whatsoever, and if they all stay injury free like they more or less did last year, then they'd have half a chance. But if they get any injuries, I don't think Liverpool will finish second this year.
Keep your questions coming in the comments, and we'll take some questions as well shortly. Terry, have you got anything? To add on anything general? Any points you want to talk about? Women, drugs, rock and roll?
No, man, I'm all good.
I've got a question. What does everyone think about the VAR?
That's
brilliant.
Jesus Christ!
Brilliant.
You know what? Tell. I agree.
You're joking,
What's
Terry. Yeah,
happening is
brilliant.
that the reason why we got away with VAR is because managers were kept on moaning time and time when they after matches about this result's going to cost us, maybe a bit of money in Premiership prize money. This result could have cost us in Europe. This could have just cost us relegation, cost us the title. Well, you got what you want now, whether you like it or not. It's full or not. Every decision they're getting is right. I didn't like we didn't like the situation at Leicester City yesterday when it was unintentional handball and that led to a goal by Dem Donker. But the rules managers were told before the season start that in the build up to a goal, whether it's handball in unintentional, intentional, the goal gets disallowed. So they know this already. All right, it's not good for the crowd. Players want to celebrate, and they went, I'm not going to celebrate. Then I'll celebrate when I know it's a goal. We just have to get used to it because, cricket have had it for about 27 years. The trouble with football is that football, they don't like new technology. They don't like things getting touched in football. But whether you like it or not, is here to stay. And all the decisions haven't been incorrect.
Yeah. Where change happens in football, back in the day when they removed the back pass, everybody moaned. When they let goalies wear gloves, everybody moaned. When yellow cards became a thing, everybody moaned. These every few years there are major changes to the way football is done. From my point of view, I've seen my team win some games, or not lose games, where we've had terrible decisions that have favoured us. And I always think about the goal that Spurs scored against us. It was about 20 meters over the line, and we dragged it out. Equally, if there was VAR in action, I know it's not in the Premier League, but we would have knocked with VAR. We would have knocked Porto out of the Champions League the year that Jose Mourinho went on to win it. So it swings and roundabouts. There are some games now that you are going to lose because of VAR, but there's also going to be other games you're going to win because it's there as well. So it isn't going to change anything. The decisions have all been right. And the fact that the decisions have all been right, I find it staggering that anybody has a go at the system. Maybe the time to get it right, but I would rather wait 3 minutes and have the correct decision and it be fair, as opposed to you've all done it. But you guys go to games regularly. How many times have you left the stadium fuming because the referee's made a mistake? And 20 seconds looking at a screen would have saved your heartache and anger. I can't see how you don't think that's a good thing.
I totally agree with you, Terry. I agree with you.
I like VAR personally.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're going on about that. What about that goal yesterday, Man City? That when it was not even offside, and he gave offside. I mean, what the?
Listen, what they say, what they say and what they know is that it's accurate to up to like 98, 99%. They know, even the goal line technology isn't 100% accurate because it's a computer representation, a graphic representation of it. But they sign it off and say it's as close as we can get to being 100% accurate. And whether you are 1 millimeter, whether you're 1 millimeter offside or 1 meter offside, you are still offside. And my point is, why should a striker be given the benefit of the doubt?
I watched the game at Newcastle yesterday, and I think the officials are getting confused because we were. It was an instant we were going forward, and the linesman's put his flag up for offside. Yeah. Now, I was told with the VAR that the flag stays down until the end of the action, yeah, and it went up before. And if that ball had gone across and someone had scored, yeah, it wouldn't have gone to VAR.
But that's not VAR's fault. But that's not VAR's fault. That's the linesman's fault for making a mistake.
Yeah, but
VAR is a computer screen. VAR is a computer screen. The VAR doesn't do anything wrong.
But we have got officials that are brain dead in this country. Are absolutely brain dead. We have the worst officials in this country. If we had proper officials, we wouldn't even have.
So give it. So giving them help. So giving them help is going to make it better, right?
I saw Martin Atkinson. Right. He should have retired about 5 years ago. Still right on a football pitch. Yeah. Right.
Time to go.
We need younger referees. They're all bloody old. The linesmen are old. They can't see that. We need proper officials, and we wouldn't need all this crap. We've survived 100-odd years without all this VAR. Why now? This game is now turning like America now. Everything is American-based now. I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Claude, would you take the VAR decision against Tottenham last year at Wembley when the penalty was saved and then we should have scored? Would you put the VAR in?
Listen, what about the decisions that go for us? No. What about the decisions that go for us? Yeah, no, that's all bullshit.
Claude, I just think you're being controversial for the sake of it. You're just doing this for views, Claude. It's just for views. You're doing it for views. All you care about is staying relevant, Claude. Stop.
I can't understand why you would go against something that's giving you 100% the right decision.
Because even the VAR decisions get it wrong. I mean, there's a guy who's got his toenail probably put him offside.
But he's offside then.
But
then he's offside. But then he's offside.
That should never have been disallowed, that goal.
Why? It was offside.
Easy,
but it was offside.
You know what? Come on, Terry.
But it was offside.
All the teams were given the rules before the season started.
Because his feet are bigger, he's offside.
No, it's not because his feet are bigger. It's because he was offside.
It's bullshit. Absolutely bullshit, mate. I'm sick of it, mate. Why do we need all this crap? We survived all these years.
Why?
It's
because they want to get the
decision
right.
Money.
What do you mean it's about money? Football's going to lose money.
Listen, it won't be long.
Hang on. Sorry. It's not about money. How is it about money? The Premier League are going to have...
It won't be long before it's sponsored.
Claude, listen.
Sponsored by someone. Sponsored by this.
Yeah, okay. But the Premier League don't own the technology. The Premier League are going to have to pay a digital company stupid amounts of money for the technology. So it's going to cost football money, but they want to get their decisions as close to 100% accurate as possible. I don't understand how...
Well, employ proper referees.
Humans always make mistakes. Humans will make mistakes.
Employ proper referees that know what they're doing.
Where are they? Find me these referees, Claude. Where are all these referees? Where's this big vat of referees that have got great eyesight that you know about that the FA don't? Where are they, son? They're nowhere. They don't exist.
Well, if you're employing 55-year-old men still on the pitch, of course they're not going to get the proper eyesight, are they?
This time last year, at the start of the season, after the first weekend of football, we would have all been sitting here moaning about the decisions the referee on a linesman made. This year, we're talking about one little incident, which every team got the rules before the football started, and they said that anytime the ball hits the hand, they're giving it handball. So,
I think that's the worst. I think that's the worst ball game. To be honest with you. I mean, that Wolves player who Josh have handballed that the other day. How the hell did he know that was going to hit his arm? He's got his back to goal. It's just one of those things.
Sonny, I agree with you. For me, it's one of those things.
Also, Sonny, what about the Tottenham Man City game when they didn't even go at the right angle? And what was it? The Tottenham player that scored the goal.
Oh no!
Was it Loriente? He scored the goal because they didn't look at it at the right angle.
Yeah. Hang on, but it doesn't matter, does it?
What about all the goal? Also, Terry, what about all the goal celebrations that you celebrate a goal and it's taken away from you? I don't like it. It's bullshit.
Well, you shouldn't have been off. Yeah, but you shouldn't have been offside then, should you?
You're ruining the game.
Hang on a minute. So, Claude, you're more angry. Hang on.
I want to go back where we all are. No, I want to go back to where we argue in the pubs about decisions. You want to take that all away from us?
No, you're not, because we're still arguing now, aren't we? Listen, right?
Terry, at the end of the day, right, it goes for you and it goes against you.
Yeah.
It goes for you and it goes against you.
But now it's going to go for you all the time.
All the time.
I don't want this mimic.
But now it's going to go for you all the time. The decision is always going to be right. What I'm confused about,
Terry, that Loriente goal should never have been allowed.
Yeah, but that wasn't the Premier League. That wasn't us. Yeah, but that wasn't VAR. That's the referee's decision. So VAR is a computer screen.
VAR because he looked at the.
No, VAR doesn't make a decision.
That is the problem.
This isn't Kit. This isn't Knight Rider. This computer doesn't talk to people. The referee still makes a decision. It's crazy. And what I do find, honestly, Claude, I love you. I miss you. I ain't seen you for ages. But what I do love, right, is you're more angry that a player's celebration might be cut short rather than the right decision impacting the correct team. So it's more disappointing that a player, like his celebration gets cut short and he's disappointed than your team being knocked out of the FA Cup or losing a final in the Champions League because the goal was offside. I don't see, for me, the bad decision's worse. But there we go. You said it's cool, mate. You'll go viral with that one, Claude. He'll be happy.
It's all your fault.
Sorry.
All your
I'll go
fault.
viral. I don't even know if you bloody heard me because this epoxy machine don't work half the time.
Claude, we heard you without even a link.
Well,
We heard you all over Frisbee Park. But let's just change topic for 5 minutes before we wrap up in a bit. Terry from the football terrace, your thought on this Ozil Klazen action? They're not playing indefinitely because it's a security risk.
Yeah, like, do you know what? I feel for them. I feel for them, and I feel for Arsenal. It's ridiculous that they're not safe. It's ridiculous. I mean, clearly the people that tried to mug them are connected to some serious gangsters. Because if it was just a couple of oiks, you know, then it'd be fine. It'd be dealt with. But yeah, they're obviously connected to a real serious gang that are after them.
Prime line of duty ship.
Yeah, it's of course it's really, really sad, but it's the right decision because if their safety is at risk, then the club have got to do everything in their power to protect them because the last thing anybody wants to see is either of these two get hurt. And you know, maybe it going viral and everybody celebrating what Kolasinac did. Maybe now with hindsight, it was a bit of a poor decision to make it do that because it seems like it's infuriated the people that was involved with it. They've made him out to be like Superman. It's almost like their ego has been damaged and they want to go after him now, which is a shame. I feel really sorry for them both. I feel sorry for Arsenal and their fans, but just hopefully they can get this resolved. And you know, the club, I know the players are rich, but the club have got to put their hands deep in their pockets here and supply them with the best security possible, 24 hours a day, especially their family. And Sky also pissed me off because 2 days after it happened, Sky are outside their house filming where it is. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you showing the world where they live? Leave them alone. Give them their privacy. It's crazy, real crazy.
Me being Turkish, I think it's got a connotation as to when Özil met the Turkish Prime Minister or President, whatever he is. I think there's a political agenda towards this, to be honest with you. Kenny, are you with us? Kenny's paused. I'm a Gooner. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, the players must really want to play themselves. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I've got family. You've got family. And if there's a threat to your family, then obviously you've got to look after number one first, unfortunately. Football comes second to things like that. You know what I mean? It's obviously there must have been a bigger threat there than what we know.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ken. Carry on. Although Terry disappeared. Is the screen gone? The screen changed. Can you hear me? Are we all in the screen?
Yeah, I'm all on the screen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can see all four of us in here, can't you?
Yeah, I can see all four.
Yeah, I can see Kenny. Kenny's
come back.
He's gone frozen.
No. Yeah.
Well, what we'll do, we'll wrap it up because it seems like we lost Terry and Kenny's frozen. So we'll wrap it up. So thanks for your time, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Sorry about my equipment.
Everyone who's watching, can you all please like, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Subscribe to Claude's channel, to Kenny's channel, to the football series. And all share please on Twitter as well. But thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me on. Sorry about my equipment.
No, that's all right. I heard a lot of women complain about your equipment, Claude.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're paused, Ken.
I'm paused.
Yeah, you're not moving. You
can still hear me.
Yeah, you're either doing a very good impression when the West End are really still. No, we can see that.
Back on now.
Oh, yeah. See? Even Kenny's having problems tonight. So not only me.
No,
what's going on here?
No, I think we have any problems. It's that 1 minute you guys all went off.
Just wrap up your final thoughts on Arsenal. We lost Terry. Starting with you, Ken. Ken's paused. I'm a Gooner. Just wrap up your final thoughts on Arsenal before we finish.
Yeah, obviously coming up to the Burnley game, I just hope Emery sort of starts playing the new players now, start integrating them. Obviously, we've got Liverpool after that, and then the Spuds after that. So we definitely need them to get time under their belts now, get out there, and all start gelling together, so we can at least put a performance in. Because if we play like we did yesterday, Saturday against Newcastle, then we're going to have big problems against Liverpool and Tottenham. So I just hope that he starts them Saturday, and then maybe take them off after 50 minutes, and then bring some other people on. But otherwise, I think we're in big trouble, guys.
What's your last thoughts, Claude?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 3 points. That's what we should be happy with. Kept a clean sheet. Mind you, that wasn't very hard against them, really. But Burnley will be tough because they've started off well. So we've got to be very careful. We mustn't take that for granted. But Liverpool will be a really tough game. And I hope when we come to Liverpool, we've got the right players in the right position, because I do not fancy going up there and getting another hammering. I want us to compete this year. I want us to compete with them. I mean, if we do get beat by the odd goal, but we've competed, I'll be happy, you know. But what I want is to see us get an improvement. And I'm very excited about this season. I think there'll be a lot of good attacking moments, but there'll be a lot of defensive moments as well. But if we can get the right balance, there's no reason. I think we should get top 4. There's no excuse with this squad we've got to get top 4. Possibly challenge for 3rd as well. You know, at least top 4, and maybe a cup with it, and that we'll all be happy to get back into the Champions League.
Just to wrap this up, I think you lot are a better front 3 than Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Pepe.
Hey, Sonny, can you hear me? Sonny, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Sonny, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not looking. I think
Right, can I say something there?
People moaning about this VAR.
All right, Sonny. Right, basically about. I know you're wrapping up, so I just want to say a quick thing about the Ozil thing.
Yeah, of course.
Football means nothing. It's not important for Ozil and Kolasinac. It's about a duty of care, just from the club and the public. And at the end of the day, they have to play their football in the best frame of mind. And if this carries on, then we may see the last of them. Because why would you stay in a country that is where you're beset with these sort of gangs getting involved from a simple carjacking? Now it's getting a bit serious than that. Maybe this could force them out of the country, and that is a disgrace to this country as a whole. And it saddens me that that they're representing their club, and as a club, we just can't protect them. That's not the club's fault. Also, another thing as well about Arsenal. Top 4 is the be all and end all everything. It doesn't matter whether we win a cup or not. It'd be nice if we do win a cup, but the top 4 has to be paramount. We are missing out on big games, and we're probably potentially missing out on a bigger signings that we already got before, because we can't always sell Arsenal Football Club as a club that's got all these traditions. We have to be able to sell in the Champions League as well. So the Champions League, getting in the Champions League next season is the alpha and omega.
I mean, me personally, I think if it wasn't for Real this year, Arsenal we wouldn't have no hope at all. I don't think the Conkies have put any of their own money in, and I think it's from his shrewd business sense and his knowledge of the transfer market. It's actually gave us hope for the first time in many years. So roll on for the rest of the season. I just want to thank everyone for watching as well, and hopefully you guys. My lethal front 3, and hopefully Terry could join us on the subs bench as well.
We'll have to join you.
Can join me again, because I've really enjoyed having you. I want to pick four better people to have on for my first podcast. So hopefully you come on again.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Son.
Thanks for inviting me on, mate.
Speak to you all again soon. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, sir.
Respect.
Share. Know what to do. Take care.
See all 3 of you at the game on Saturday.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'm there Saturday.
See you.